a big one has truly been like being able to set boundaries with my family in
Mm,
healthy ways. Um, and to be able to model for them how we can navigate turbulent times together in healthier ways than they have in the past. I think my relationship with my family has never been better. Um,
mm,
and I think we've been able to say a lot of uh, unshared things.
mhm.
And I think that has been amazing and has been healing to us in many, many ways.
Yeah, I
Um,
feel like you really are leading the way in your family of that goes back to the breaking generational cycles
mhm.
of, avoidance around emotions. That
Yeah,
was not just you. Like that was something that was modeled to
for
you.
sure.
And then as you shifted this inside of yourself, like you said, you got to show the way for
Hmm.
your family. And I really love that you mentioned that you're feeling more connected than ever with your family because, boundaries, sometimes when people hear boundaries, it feels like, oh, this is like keeping people at a distance. But it's like,
Yeah,
no, this is what allows us to be in right relationship, in a
right.
relationship that feels reciprocal and nurturing and, just going to a deeper level of care and
Yeah.
connection than we've been able to before. And, it was beautiful to witness the way that you were able to hold yourself and your family through grief, through unexpected
Yeah.
change. And yeah, those are things that are going to ripple into your lineage moving forward.
Yeah. I tell a lot of people about that time and how like tough it was and how um even now, like with, dealing with the ends of, work and things like that, I still look back to like the things that got me through that time, which were routines and rituals of like taking my walks, drinking my water, eating good foods, doing my Pilates, like the what is considered basic. But really like just kept my head above water during all of those tough times. And so yeah, like so it's not the big moments don't feel as big now, but I'm like I have moved through things like this before. And I have the same tools that I did then. And that feels good. That feels very good.
Yeah, life keeps lifing, but you just have more tools and resources
For sure.
to
For
navigate
sure.
it with a little more ease.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love that. Yeah, when I think of your journey, I'm just in total awe of where you are now, because in sustainable sacred service, that was like, about a year ago from
Hmm.
now. And when you initially joined that program, you were just starting your corporate job.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm gonna do this for 2, 3 years. I don't know what your timeline
Yeah.
was, but like
That was
you
it.
were committed to, you're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this for X period of time. I was like, okay.
I was literally just telling someone this. I was just telling someone this. I was like, I was definitely, and I've shared this a lot with the people that I worked with, around this notion of the trusted people that I work with anyway, um, around this notion of like wanting to prove something.
Yes.
I've talked with a lot of people who have shared, I came in thinking I wanted to make it to this level, and this is just like not what I thought it was, and now I don't know what to do. And I'm like, you do know what to do. Not that that's like you leaving your job or like what have you, but you're questioning or you're starting to question what it is here that, is satisfying other parts of your life that are outside of just like financial reward. And that's okay. It was better you ask those questions to yourself now than later so you can shift the like, because there are levers that you can shift here or you can figure out what is your path to not doing this all the time. And I think the way that I move a little bit more boldly, but sometimes in a quiet way, they're just like, wow, I can't believe you you did that. And I'm like, yeah, no, I did. This isn't for me. And I think that's okay. There are a lot of people who are thinking the same. I just decided to do something about it, and that's okay. And I think a lot of people have seen that as an example of how to just, you can always advocate for what you need. And if something is not for you, then there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to prove. And you don't need to stick to one narrative that you wrote for yourself, whatever period of
Yes.
time ago.
Absolutely. That embodied leadership again, just like whatever space you're in, you're like, we don't have to do it this way. Let me
Right.
show you how we can do it different.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and I looked back at my notes and it was April 20th when you were like, yeah, this is not for me, when you
Mm,
were really coming
wow.
to terms with that the corporate job what's the path out? It's time for
Yeah.
us to start exploring that path out because I knew from Sustainable Sacred Service, like day one, I'm like, when you were sharing, yeah, I'm gonna be in here X years, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll let you come to your own conclusions, but I
Yeah.
encourage you to, dream beyond like
Yeah.
what your ultimate goal is. Can you achieve that without this job? You know?
Hmm.
And April 20th, you came in and you were like frustrated, you're navigating these challenges with your manager or supervisor at the time, and we did a breathwork session where I was inviting you to like speak your frustrations out loud.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was like a very potent session and shift where I was inviting you to remove the filter of how you filter yourself in the way that you feel you're going to be received. And
Yeah.
so the ways that you were like diminishing what you would say because you didn't want to offend and all the things, I'm like, no, like get free. Like, really, how do you really feel? Like, what's
Yeah.
really going on? And I remember just, the anger coming up, the frustration, and really allowing your authentic voice to be expressed out loud without
Hmm.
all of the fear and hesitation around how you're sharing. And it was beautiful to witness like the way that you freed yourself. And then literally by our next session, you're like, yeah, I spoke to my supervisor and set some boundaries. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
integrating the work right off the bat.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, no, I feel like boundaries are, and interestingly enough, like the easiest thing that comes to me now is being able to be like, you know what, this, and not being, not myself, not judging them and not thinking that other people are going to judge them either, by just being like, hey, either not coming to this thing because I am tired or have this commitment or that commitment, or, thinking about you, like being able to set those and not worry about it, whether that be in the workplace or with friends, have been such a big lesson. Um, Mainly because it's really around like how I am protecting my own peace at the end of the day. And I think those who matter most to me truly understand. I think I've
Yes.
completely learned that.
Yeah,
They
freeing
really do
yourself from,
understand.
oops, sorry.
No, no, that was it. Yeah.
Freeing yourself from the pressure of other people's perception and just
Right.
like you said, protecting your own peace over other people's perception of you.
Hmm. Hmm. I think, yeah, I don't even think I think about it anymore. That's the funny
Yes.
part. It like doesn't even like float into my mind of like, how is this person gonna think about it? Not in a bad way, but just like,
Yeah.
what do you think first, and then kind of moving that way. Hmm.
Absolutely. And so I think that your connection to the ease in which you're able to share now is just because you've been practicing it for, the last several months so beautifully.
Yeah.
And the foundation before you were able to share your sacred no, to set those boundaries was like being in
Hmm.
touch with your body and
Yeah.
what your body's true capacity is and
Yeah.
not overriding that. So tell me a little bit about that because that has been a really huge shift in our time together as well.
Yeah. I was just sharing this with my therapist, that like being able to understand what I am feeling in my body in real time has been like the biggest shift I've made in this year. She'd asked me for my birthday, what's like the biggest reflection that you've been able to have? And it's just being able to like truly understand like when I'm feeling frustrated, when I'm feeling ashamed, like when I'm feeling sad, like all the different responses that come with that, and how to soothe myself in those responses, have been a big, big, big lesson. Um, I I don't think I shared this yet. I'm going to do my first acupuncture tomorrow
Amazing.
and herbal consultation. I'm very excited for
Yeah.
that. Mainly because there are points that I feel like I have like stored a bit of stress in my body and I've like
Mhm.
started to notice them like, okay, um, at least I know what and where they are and how I can like think through new ways to tackle them, or consistent ways to like further integrate into my routine. Um, I know like when I don't get a certain amount of sleep, how that impacts me. When I need to like stretch out, like there are just new ways where I feel um like I've been able to unlock a lot of things that have been stored in my body through a lot of our breathwork sessions too. I really, really continue. I think that'll be the one thing, and I'm not gonna say the one thing I'll miss because I'm
Yeah.
sure we will continue to do them.
Yeah.
Um, but being able to just like tap in with myself and like recognize those when I need to have been definitely pivotal to, I think, a lot of my everyday acknowledgement of stress and how it can show up.
Yes, absolutely. And it's that's the beautiful thing about the deepened connection to the wisdom of your body is then you open the door to new choices that you get to make with like this level of awareness that you have. And so then especially during when you took that pause, that time off from work, again, a
Yeah.
beautiful example of setting boundaries at work, of like protecting your peace and taking that time to step away and take a leave of absence, then you
Mhm.
really like amped up your consistency to your wellness regimens and routines
Yeah.
in such a beautiful way. And, tell me about what that time was like for you.
Oh goodness. I feel like that time was probably the most in tune as we're speaking about embodiment that I've ever been in. I think at that time, like really coming into my own and being like, oh my goodness, my purpose is here to model the way for us to all like understand what our bodies are feeling and to tackle that. Um, and that we all can. I think I was able to help my mother see that like she can let go of some of the old narratives that she had about like how my grandmother lives her life and like what her lifestyle is and like being able to embody this new way of living with my grandmother and for us all to and for us to realize how much that helped us heal in such a big way. I feel like my mom still to this day talks to me about like, oh, like, your grandmother said this today, but she's just we're meeting her where she's at or something like that. Like it's just, one less thing to think about, which within this day and age, I think one less thing is like all we can ask for.
Yeah.
Um, which has been beautiful to be able to come back to the space that I was in before and recognize that it's not for me and that it's actually almost a um mirror to what like my mother was dealing with at this age in her life. And how I'm like quite literally making a timeline shift in real time is amazing. And I'm excited to do a lot of the exploration that she did not get to do at this age or after. Um, and so I think that time period was both one, a way for me to like commit to myself both going home and like supporting my family while also supporting myself and not letting the two be distinct of each other, but supportive of one another was really great. And then also making this now shift of what could be my cycle and like seeing it in real time, and making sure that I made some shifts so that's not the case. I think that's all we can hope for. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So beautiful. And, I'm curious about, you mentioned therapy, and I know you've engaged in therapy, and then you've also done this. And what would you say is unique about this experience compared to other self-development things that you've done?
Oh, yeah. I feel like the practices in which we engage in are definitely like extremely tangible, extremely able to implement like rather quickly, and see. change and progression um, on a regular basis, as much as you're willing to commit to them, I think is what I've learned over time. And that's okay. I think we go through the seasons, and that's like one big thing I've learned as well. Um, but definitely some of the like somatic practices like breath work, like our drop-in sessions, like being able to do yoga that is like very tailored and targeted to how we're feeling um is have been really, really great. And just like those are things that I've taken into my everyday life of like, I'm feeling this way, maybe I should do a stretch, or I'm moving too fast, maybe I should slow down and just like take a breath. Um, and I've really loved that. Um, I think a lot of it really comes down to like the tailoring and targeting of like what we discuss each session, and how we can definitely spiritually connect and also think about like what are the tangible practices in both ways. In connection has been great. And then I think like therapy and other things that I've been able to pair with it have just been great tools to like add on. And I think everybody deserves that like sweet to be
Yes.
honest. A lot of people have asked me what has like supported, or a lot of people have shared like it feels like while you share, you haven't figured it all out. You figured a good amount of it. And I was like, well, I've been like kind of priming this for a good amount of time. Have not been doing this alone and have been doing it for well over a year now, it seems. And definitely like very strongly over the 6 months. This decision just did not come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And while it's not like fully ironed out, I feel very prepared in more ways than one to like take the steps that I'm taking. Um, so yeah, I feel like this has been very much a roadmap, whereas
Yeah.
like therapy and other sessions just tend to be like supplements and fillers to like every day. This has felt like very guided in a tangible way, and in a way that's helped me figure out how to guide myself too.
Yes. Oh, I love that point because that's really a big part of my own goal in the work that I'm doing with people is that you're connecting to your own inner healer. You're connecting to your
Right.
own inner wisdom that lasts way longer than our time together.
Yes. 100%. 100%.
Yes.
I
Yes.
feel good.
Yeah, and so when I think about, where you started to where you are now, it's just been the most beautiful journey, like witnessing you blossom and connecting to the wisdom of your body and setting your boundaries and speaking up for yourself at work, in your relationships, like everywhere.
Yeah.
And truly cultivating the life that you desire. And, I remember our decolonial dreaming practice where we were specifically connecting to what your authentic desire is outside of the American dream, outside of the pressure to prove yourself. Like, what is the life that you want for yourself? And then, like you said, all the following sessions, okay, now how are we going to get you there? Like, what do we
Right.
need to do to shift to bring your life into
Exactly.
greater alignment with the vision that you have for yourself? And you really implemented what we practiced together, like after each session. And yeah, to see you now, you are leaving your corporate job,
Yeah.
which takes so much courage, because
Thank you.
to walk away from the salary and the benefits and all of the things
Mhm.
like that is a huge leap of faith.
Thank you.
And to see you walking it and towards your purpose, like, you may not have been accepted to speak at TEDx, but you applied,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And you have leads on your first paid gig for finding joy with an
Yeah.
organization that you really love. And you're collaborating with being an ambassador for a massive Black mental health organization, like
Yeah.
building your connections in the space, creating the audio series to
Mhm.
like uplift this journey that you've been going through, again, as a light post for others
Yeah.
to find their joy, to connect to and advocate for their own well being in the spaces that they're in. And it's just been absolutely incredible to witness, and I'm so excited for what's next for you. So, yeah, what's next for you?
Oh my goodness. So many things. I feel like the audio series is the most exciting thing that I'm working on. I am definitely hoping to get into some pitch competitions to continue to just like build funding for finding joy for my own professional development and continuing to build up myself as, mental health advocate and hopefully practitioner soon. I do plan on signing up for Pilates instruction. I think folks saw that coming a little bit. And being able to build that into my toolkit in January. So I'm excited about that. And then I think in terms of just like continuing to build out finding joy in terms of contract work, but also building out myself as more of an advisor, and whether that be a philanthropic advisor, or a personal advisor to someone, don't know who yet that is, a business in themselves. So trying to figure out what that looks like. I've been giving folks the example that my partner's friend works as Tracy Ellis Ross's like personal assistant and advisor. And I'm like, I could see myself like hopefully supporting someone who has a larger platform, but is someone who has good value and faith. So we'll see where that takes me. But for right now, really just supporting, focusing on myself and finding joy. Yeah.
Yes, so beautiful. And lastly, would you recommend this program to
Of course.
someone and why?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. I couldn't recommend this enough. I feel like the tools that I've been able to gain here have been focused on really being able to understand myself more than I ever have before, and to repair some of the narratives that I had been repeating over the years for myself, and starting to step into a version of me that acknowledges the beauty that I have to give to the world, what I am hoping to give to the world, my true purpose, and being able to stand in that unapologetically. Um, I'm so grateful, so grateful. I could not have done it. I could not have done it without this program and this series of ways that we've been able to engage from sustainable sacred service to this individual path that I feel like now has helped me embody all of the things that I'm going to go forward and do for probably the rest of my life. So I'm so fortunate, and I'm excited for others to be able to get to participate.